Hey everybody, this is Dipio and welcome back to the Stanley Parable. If you watched last time, you saw that we completely destroyed the narrator's mind and concept of reality and self-worth, and he basically restarted the game. We did finish it, we got credits and everything, but we just rebooted, we're back in the office, and we're facing out into what appears to be the break room, or a room very much like the break room. So we're going to go out, we're going to make the trip again, we're going to see what's real, what isn't real, and see where we end up now. Come along, shall we?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh, so the same start narrative, but a different layout. Oh, right into the doorway.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Oh, I'm such a twerp, man. My curiosity is brutally, brutally unkind. Like, I should just go straight forward and see what's going on. I really should. I really, 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 really should. And I know I could just end up breaking the game again, but we gotta check it out. We gotta see what's on the right.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Okay.
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Okay, we haven't broken the game yet.
Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first time, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Yep. Nope, nope, nope. I want to see what happens when we answer the phone.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Okay, we never did get an idea of who her was before.
Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Pick up the phone. Fade to white. He said it would fade to white.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Oh.
Gotcha.
What?
Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
You're a jerk. Okay. I'm here. Now what?
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
It's a sad apartment. Good morning. 427. Press G on your keyboard. Okay?
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Press 1. Okay.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Press 8.
But in his mind, in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures.
My couch
From
changed
behind
to a
his
desk.
Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Well, that's depressing. Press 8 to watch TV. All right.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth.
Okay.
The thought excited him terribly.
Press Y to spin. Who are the boys? Okay.
So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Press B to prepare dinner. Okay.
As he wandered through this fantasy
And my
world,
stove
he began to
disappeared.
fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
What? V to tell your kids a story?
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Okay. I broke the narrator, now I think he is working on breaking me. Tell your wife. Okay, wife.
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
E to go to sleep. I'm going to sleep at my desk. I'm going to do that.
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
No, you're a jerk. I'm pushing
You
it.
see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Put a mirror in here. Okay. Question nothing? I question nothing.
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again.
Please
And
die.
Stanley pushed a button. And I tried
I
again.
don't want to die.
And Stanley pushed a button. And I
Oh, I think I died. I did die. And I've been reborn. Okay. So, yeah, I went a little bit crazy that time. Narrator? Narrator, you got me. You got me for revenge, I think. But, okay. But look, we're back in the original office space.
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it.
What?
If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time.
Okay, no. Who farted? That is the sequel to the Stanley Parable. Okay, I'm turning off the computer still. Now I'm looking over my shoulder to see if someone's following me. Okay, what's in here? Nothing. Oh, more computers on. Turn it off. Off, off, off. Off! Okay, through here. Is this the... Yep, this is.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okay, so I went through there enough times to break the narrator and crash the game, basically. And then I went through and saw what happens when I make it all the way through and answer the phone. There was one more diversion in there, which was cutting through the warehouse back to the main path. Do we want to see that or just go ahead? I think I'm just going to go ahead and go through to the left this time. Because if it diverges us back to the main path, I might miss something in between, but it'll get me to the same place.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Ooh, look, I can get into the door this time. It was locked off last time because they were trying to prevent me from making decisions.
Oh, no. Oh, no, 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 not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time.
Okay. Duct tape, a pipe wrench. It looks like wire, but it's got a nuclear designator on it. That's not good. More duct tape. What is that up there? That looks like an ammo crate with an antenna on it. Or maybe it's a screwdriver sticking out of a box. I don't know. But there's nothing in here, so we'll get out now. You happy?
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Yeah, Stanley walks upstairs to his boss's office. No, Stanley walks downstairs. That's just creepy for no good reason. What's in here? There's a car.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming!
Oh, here's the clocks.
He yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job.
Ooh.
He wasn't crazy after all.
It's getting smaller.
He thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Yep.
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? Yeah. How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Nope. You're stuck in the 7th level of hell.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Oh.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Okay, so my death is the result of a lot of my decision-making. When I make choices, I end up in a bad way. Okay, first I broke the universe. First I jumped to my death, then I broke the universe, then I just all of a sudden died, and then I ran out into the street raving like a lunatic and died. I'm not sure how many choices I should be making at this point. I feel like it's a choose your own adventure, except every option B is death. it's death or insanity. So, okay, let's go one more round through here before we call it a day.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Nope, didn't miss a memo. We're running through here. Computers are on. Turn them off. See how I am making some of the same choices over and over again. Unnecessary choices. Alright, we're coming through here. Oh, this is new. This is not the path I took before. Look we're heading into a blue hallway. It all leads to the same place, but that is entirely a new layout.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors,
he chose
entered
the door on the
his
left. Alright. I'm not going to bother taking in the meeting room.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Stay out of the broom closet. This guy is not putting up with my garbage anymore. Okay. I'm not going to go down.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Yep, because down is into the mouth of madness. Okay, we're back upstairs in the executive bathroom. But this didn't say that before. It was just a door. Okay. Place still looks like a bordello. Still can't go in there. What's behind the desk? Awaiting input. I'm at 3 inputs received. Okay. Okay, he's not talking to me like he was last time. Let's go in here. Oh, this is different too!
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Wait, I saw a little cursor. Oh, is it because of this? Yeah, look.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Okay. They saw me do that. I'm on camera. Okay, the fireplace opened up. This place is still under construction. They don't even have the insulation in yet. Oh. In the dark. No flashlight. No flashlight. Just made a black screen for everybody to look at. Okay. Remember he talked about an underground bunker?
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Okay.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Or he escaped. Mind control or escape. Always got to be the one that goes against the grain.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Ooh. I told you, man, every time I make a decision. But I'm not turning back. I'm not turning back.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
I do.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Yep. Yep. Oh. Oh. Is it a pit? It's all steamy and red. Am I gonna step into hell? Alright, Stanley. Make peace with your god. Oh, he lied. He lied?
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise,
Oh!
he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever.
I thought the fall was
Stanley
the death.
can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life.
I can't jump. Nope.
Farewell, Stanley.
I don't know what that means, but good night, Gracie.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Ooh. Oh, this is very cool. One narrator took over the other narrator. The Stanley Parable. Did I just walk into the credits?
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Interesting.
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Look, it's all the assets of the game. This is the office layout. Here's Stanley's desk. He goes in the hallway into the main office, through this hallway into the secondary office, through this hallway into the meeting room. Let's see what all the things have to say. And then here's all the recycled nature paintings that we see over and over again. Okay. Office layout. This blueprint shows the office from the beginning of the game. The path from Stanley's office to the two doors was the first part of the game that was built. Sections have been added and altered throughout development, though the core layout remains almost identical to the first iteration. Alright, corridor. The pacing of this opening section was important to get right. This corridor has been moved and altered to make sure the player reaches the two doors in good time. Here's filing cabinets. Office computers. Can I turn them off? Yep. Let's see. The two doors. The set of two doors was the very first concrete piece of the Stanley Parable's design. Once this room was created, the rest of the game emerged as an extension of it, an exploration of the contradiction this room posed. Can't turn it. Can't turn that on. Look, here's the doors. Different types of floor with different doors and wall colorings. Button sounds. A selection of the sounds used when the games are, used throughout the game when buttons are pressed. Each sound is a mix of a keyboard stroke and a synthesized tone. Alright. Okay. All the different... Stanley Parable credits. Can I just say that I think it is very awesome that both Jesus and Siddhartha worked on this together? That is a meeting of industry giants right there. Okay, the office, more random art. The maintenance room. Oh, I haven't been there. Just the... Oh, the copy machine. The point of Stanley Parable is to win, is to lose. Am I going crazy? More endings, fewer endings, more narrators, fewer narrators, more Stanley, less Stanley. Ooh, what's this? Narrator emails. After the second trailer, we asked people to email the narrator for questions. While we had initially planned to use these in further promotional materials, we never found the perfect use for them. Here are a selection of those emails. Oh, here we go. How do you make a jar? Oh, they're just showing me like an art. Alright, no, I can't click through it. Okay. I'm not going to try and read these because they're going to click through quick. So that's very interesting. Now I question the nature of all of this. Am I actually seeing... Obviously the assets for the game are real, but the little tidbits about the development of the game, I wonder if they're real or created for the game. From left to right, the evolution of Stanley's office from November 2011 to February 2013. Okay. Very small office, slightly larger. Final office with the mustard ketchup and lettuce file baskets. We're looping around here. Game design mock-up. This is the level that William, the level designer, sent Davey, the writer, as a kind of audition piece. The strength of this level got William hired to design the full game. Though much of the environment has changed from the basic layout from this mock-up, is still in the game. This must be when everything goes haywire, when you break the rules. Chains, an elevator of some sort? Ooh, we'll go back there in a second. Freedom ending. This is the freedom ending as it exists in the beta. The countdown room. Monitor room elevator. For a time, the elevator in the monitor room could go up or down with freedom above and countdown below. We abandoned this when players found it too difficult to remember what was up and what was down, and placed the two endings together instead. Countdown desks. One of the desks from an early version of the countdown ending. I saw something pop up out of there. What's in this hallway? Oh, more mock-up stuff. Okay. The game is now paused. Escape menu. For a long time, we had an ending that only ended when the player restarted from the escape menu. Unfortunately, very few players realized this is what they were supposed to do, which was frustrating for everyone. Zending. This screenshot depicts an early version of the ending known as the Zending, which was eventually cut and merged with another part of the game. Looks like a screenshot taken out of Portal. The Zending model went through many iterations. This room represents the fourth version of the ending, and we thought it was complete, but decided to abandon and change it again shortly before launch. Zending levers. These were part of the Zending. Pull a lever and the narrator would describe what color they pulled. So making a choice that has literally no consequence. Ooh, what's this? Trailers. We ran 4 major teaser trailers over the course of the game's development, each meant to convey something about the spirit of the game. This is the first one, released in May 2012. It features a series of broken rooms and the voice of the narrator informing viewers that he is preparing a new version of the Stanley Parable. Okay. Interesting. This is like, if you ever played Ratchet and Clank, there was an Insomniac museum you could find in the game that was basically just like this. It was just a room full of items and little tidbits about... Oh, look at this. Always from the first choice. Obey to the staircase, disobey to the lounge, and the different types of endings. Oh, there's one where you can go out of a vent. Confusion ending. Confusion ending. What is this? Maintenance layout. The flow of hallways following the first 2 doors was important to get right since players will replay them so many times. We discussed a number of designs, but ultimately it was the simplest version that won out. The apartment timer. In a previous version of the choice leading to the apartment ending, a timer would give you 15 seconds to pick up the phone. Not picking up the phone would lead to a different ending. This is so strange that I've done this part and come across this because it feels like I've hit spoilers in the middle of the game that I haven't seen in the game. The cargo lift was intended to offer the choice of staying on or jumping off to a different path. That's a different cargo lift. However, this early version, we decided we wanted the player option of falling to their death. Well, we did a version of that. I don't know if it's the same thing. The cargo lift, the second version is functionally the same as the game, but we wanted it to look more like a place where cargo was actually stored. Okay, so these are early mock-ups of the warehouse. The office. Okay, this is where I came up. Let's go back down. What's in here? War zone. Whoa. An ending where Stanley would end up on a battlefield fighting aliens. The action game would become sentient and would wage war against the narrator. We realized shortly after starting to build it that it was far too jokey and on the nose for the tone of the game. Plus, some people interpreted it as making fun of people who like shooters, which is not our intention. Okay, that's interesting. When I actually do this stuff, it's going to be really strange. Boss's office. Different versions. The development of the boss's office. The office clock. Let's see, we'll go up here first. Kind of spread out. The freedom ending. The very first incarnation of the freedom ending. Okay, we've already been in here. Here's the exit to the Stanley Parable part, which we want to see, but we want to get through the rest of this museum first. Hey, we're here. We might as well look at it. Some furniture. The mind control facility and the escape. That's how we got here. Kevin Brighting, the voice of the narrator, recorded dialogue for the entire game roughly 3 separate times over the 2 years of development. These are clips from the early takes that were not used in the final game. Okay. We could sit in and listen, but we've got more important things to do. It is a choice I am making of my own free will. Okay, I think we've explored. I think it's time to go step in here and see what happens.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Well, let's be free. Flip the switch.
Can you see? Can
No.
you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop. Now will be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you.
Okay.
Don't let time.
It didn't have a quit. It had begin again, so I didn't hit quit. So I died. Time chose for me. I'm sorry. Is that really the end? Let's see. If I resume the game, nothing happens. I'm still in the dark. If I hit begin the game again... No, quit to menu. And I'm brought back to the main menu. No, I'm not going to hit quit. That might boot me out. What to do? Okay, I'm going to end this video right here. I'm going to hit quit, and we're going to see what happens. So, if I disappear, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time. If I don't disappear, well, then we'll know something incredible has happened, and life gets a little more mysterious. Alright, I love you guys. Bye-bye. Okay, so we didn't come back. Quit actually quit. I just abruptly ended the game. Oh, but of course, we cannot stop there. We have to see what else is going on in this twisted, crazy reality. So we're going to jump back in, and we're going to go walk down that corridor one more time. Yeah, let's go. Narrator will not ruin my day, will not ruin my life. We're going to go in there and show him what for. Begin. Okay. Back where we started. Let's go out the door.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay, Stanley. We're going to go through. We're going to turn these computers off. Because I'm obsessively about turning these computers off.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Yes, he did. He did it with determination. He's going to skip through here, too.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Okay.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Close the door. Look, he let me in and he's talking to me this time. Maybe I did really reset everything.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
Well, there's to hear what you have to say. I want to hear your thoughts.
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet F.A.
Sweet F.A. Oh.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Okay, back in the office, back in the bordello. Still can't get in the bathroom? Nope. Nope. Still can't get in here? Nope.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known that. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
I went down the darkened elevator.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Yeah, we're headed to the mind control factory this time.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Yes, we did the escape. We found a new narrator and fell into a museum of sorts, and then died anyway. So let's go see what mind control has to say about things. It's a big button. It's a bunch of numbers. The big button is going to turn the lights on, and we're going to see what's going on.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
Whoa, is that
What
what that is?
horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
We're gonna find out. Because the doors are locked behind me. I think we're in Cerebro. Charles Xavier is gonna find some mutants for us. Okay, more numbers. Weird computers. Whoever's here still hates Mondays. Alright, this will turn the cameras on.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Dude. Do these do anything now? No? Oh, wait. Did that do something? Let's see. Employee observation protocol. I can almost read it, but not quite. I can read some of the lower. I can't read the top. Okay, can we turn this off? No, once it's on, it's on. Alright, moving on. Out of the Big Brother room. I wonder where 427 is. 104 was fired, though. 601 was fired. I want to find 427. 427. There I am. Right there. Employee 427. So let's look at the monitor and see. Does it just show my desk? Yep, my crappy little office. Okay, here we go. It moves so much. I kind of want to see what's going on in there, but it might just be not worth it to scan every 600 monitors.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
It feels that way. Can I go back down? Nope. Okay.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Okay, well, we'll see. Let's push some buttons. That doesn't do anything. Wait, did that do something? No, that's just the shadow moving. What if I push these buttons? Power does nothing. Here's a power button that's off. Off for a reason. Those do nothing. Big giant red button. Does nothing. Oh, come on. That's at least the blow up the facility button. Okay. Purple. Blue. Nope. Everything's still offline. Nothing there. What about the big 5? Come on, big 5. Nothing. Okay. Let's go out of here. Mind control, idle, awaiting input. Oh, maybe we gotta mess. We gotta get into the core of the system.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Okay. Is that by turning power off or on? Let's turn it on.
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control?
I think so.
Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system.
Oh!
In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex.
What?
How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But
Okay.
what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going.
what all
Oh,
this means.
shut the door on me.
I barely know where to start.
What about this?
What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated?
What?
All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you
Power off.
exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I
Number
turned
2?
off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones, or maybe this big red button.
Oh, can't
or
turn it
this
off.
Door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is?
Not a clue.
Stanley.
3. Is there
You're
a 3?
in for quite a disappointment. But
There's a
here's a
4.
spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you
Whoa.
can't.
Okay.
Take
Goodbye,
a look at
employee
the clock.
427.
That's 30
Oh,
seconds
no.
you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No end.
Can I go down the stairs?
You being blown to pieces.
No.
Will you cling desperately to
Can I
your
go up the
fellow life,
stairs?
or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count. Or don't. It's all the same to me. All a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be
4 does
laughing at
nothing.
every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
Okay, I blew up the world. Don't make choices. They're bad for you. They're bad for you, I say. Okay. Wow. All of that blew me into Kingdom Come. I followed mostly the directions right up until the very end, and I pushed the on button instead of the off button. I think we need to do another run at least and follow the directions to the T and see what happens. But I will subject you to that right now. You got to see me run around like a maniac, dealing with nuclear Armageddon in the worst possible way by just banging on buttons, which I gotta point out, that is what would happen in every action movie where there's a clock ticking down and people are scrambling because they don't know exactly what to do. 9 times out of 10, it's gonna explode. So I don't care how many buttons you press on. So I got that much right. But, okay. I've gone insane. The narrator's gone insane. I've died from a heart attack. I've died in my dreams. I've run out into the street screaming like a crazy person and died on the street. I jumped to my death. I blew up the entire facility. This is not as boring of a job as people think it is. This is rather exciting. It's a good thing nobody else came to work today. So let's try it again next time. We're gonna go through. We're gonna make some more conventional decisions. We're going to listen to the narrator all the way through and see where he takes us, see what his story is, what his grand design is. He seems to revel in the fact that we die every time that we don't listen to him. But very, very interesting game. A lot of uniqueness in this world, and I absolutely love the layers upon layers that they've built into it. So, next time, We will try this again. We will go through, we will follow the narrator's guidelines, and we will see where that gets us. Does conformity lead you to true happiness, or does it just carry you on the path that you are always meant to be? Is it destiny? Is it philosophical rambling by a man behind a microphone that doesn't really know what he's saying, and he's just trying to wrap things up in a quick and expedient manner? That could be it too. So, okay, enough babbling. Guys, thank you so much. As always, I appreciate you for taking the time to watch this, and take care of yourselves.